Hey guys, today I wanted to make a short video. I wanted to wish Grandmaster Vishy Anand a happy birthday today. December 11th is his 50th birthday, and I wanted to just pay a little tribute to him by showing you a very nice end of a game that I studied. And Grandmaster Anand has been one of my favorite players since probably the mid 90s when he challenged Garry Kasparov um, for the world championship. Of course, Vishy has become the world champion since then, as well as just remaining for quite a while one of the top players in the world. So, the game I'm going to show you, or at least the excerpt of the game, is from his one of his earliest meeting against none other than a 16-year-old Magnus Carlsen in the Linares tournament in 2007. Uh, Vishy is playing the white pieces. Magnus Carlsen is playing the black pieces, and this is a from a Roy Lopez. And so the last move that was played was H6 by Magnus. And let's see how Anand handles this. Well, first off, if he goes back to F3 after King to G7, this position is perfectly equal. So he actually played a uh, very brilliant move here, and that's knight to e6. Now, there's a lot of analysis that I did on this position, and a lot of analysis. It's a very complicated position, but for this particular video, I just kind of want to give you the outlines of this ending and show you maybe a couple sub variations, but I don't want to get too caught up in the forest. Okay, so let's go through this. Well, the idea here is that if we take on e6, then f takes e6, bishop to e8, and queen takes h6 is very dangerous because of this e7 check uh, threat. Okay, that's the basic threat behind that. So uh, black doesn't take. Instead, he goes to h7, covering the h6 pawn. Now white follows up very naturally with f4, looking to either break open the f file or perhaps push to f5 to disrupt these pawns around the king. So again, it's always interesting to look to see what would happen here. And in this case, uh, again, just very dangerous. D takes e6 and uh, bishop to e8, for example. And then now we have f5. And here, if something like g takes f5, e takes f5, and now we see here two very powerful passed pawns and quite dangerous. At least, I think, a winning advantage for white. If it doesn't generally, doesn't necessarily, black could perhaps defend, but definitely white has the advantage here. Okay, so instead, black plays this check here, queen to a7 check, and general idea I think is to uh, allow this queen to maybe defend along the seventh rank. King to h2, bishop to e8, and now f5. Now here, black plays g takes f5, but just briefly, again, if we take here, again, d takes e6 is the move to play. And then if g takes f5, e takes f5, and again, we have these dangerous passed pawns, which would give white the advantage. So instead, black plays g takes f5, and um, e takes f5 is the move, and once again, f takes e6, and d takes e6. And this one, let me show you a little more here. Queen to d4, trying to trade off this queen. But when we have this initiative, we don't want to trade pieces. So, although I think in this case it would probably be okay because of the dangerous passed pawns. But queen to e1 is the move that Anand actually recommends in his analysis of the game, with this queen coming maybe to h4 eventually, and of course these dangerous passed pawns. But instead, black avoided that with f6. Okay, rook to e1 is played, and the idea here being to lift this rook maybe through the fourth rank, coming to either g4 or h4. Okay, knight to c7 is played, and then white plays another brilliant move here, and that's rook to c1 with this little pin on this knight here, and also probably looking to come, as we'll see in the game here, along the third rank. Okay, so bishop to d7, defending the rook and trying to get a little breathing room, and rook to c3, again coming here along the third rank with this rook lift. Okay, knight takes, so knight takes e6 at this point is possible. And here the general idea is, again, this d takes e6, and then let's say rook takes c3. And here, first, we're going to play e takes d7, because basically white can sacrifice this rook here, but basically we're just up a piece for a couple pawns, and that should be pretty sufficient. Should be pretty sufficient. So here, and of course, if queen to g2, we cannot take this here because of checkmate. Okay, so going back here instead, black plays e4, and then white brings over to rook to g3. Now, of course, threatening maybe this check here. Actually, that is the threat. Rook to g7 check, king to h8, queen takes h6 would be mate. So that is the threat. And so the knight has to take. He takes e6, and here the bishop goes to e8. Okay, trying to provide some defense, but also importantly allowing this queen to come in here. But this is where Vishy has it all under control with e7. Now, if this queen were to take, then we have a nice little combination. Can you see it? Bishop to g8 check, king to h8, queen takes h6 check, and after queen to h7, of course, we have queen takes h7 is mate. So, of course, black did not take there. Instead, he played bishop to h5, trying to give this rook a way to get into the game. But after queen takes d6, with multiple threats, of course, queen takes f7 is probably the most efficient here, threatening checkmate here on d8. Then we basically, there's no way for black to defend. These squares around the king are defended, so this rook can't come in. And if the rook tries something like rook to e8, and after queen takes f6, queen takes e7, then we have a mating combination that starts here with bishop to g8 check. I'll let you figure the rest of that out. It's a mated 6 from that position. So going back to the game, after queen takes d6, black resigned. So a beautiful ending. The game itself is also very instructive, but again, I just wanted to just have a little bit of a, just give you a little flavor. Of course, Anand was very good at all aspects of the game. But this shows you the ability, his calculation and tactics ability. It's really second to none, and still top notch even today. So, if you, by the way, if you want to check out a good book about Anand, course, he's written a couple of books about his best games, but a more recent one is Grandmaster Zenon Franco has written a book, Anand Move by Move, which one of my books, one of my favorite current books, and I will put a link to that book in the description below. But happy birthday, Grandmaster Vishy Anand, and thank you for being an inspiration to me.